Busy planning a trip down under? Here's how much it costs to travel Australia. Hi guys, Chris from Stoked for Travel here. Welcome back to the channel. Now before I get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any video goodness. Now lots happened since my last Australia budget video, so I decided to update it. There's a few more changes with transport, tours, and of course prices across the board. So this is a full rundown of how much to budget for a month in Australia, including accommodation, transport, tours, and more. And if you are busy planning your Australia trip, make sure you check out the crew from youraustrip.com. They're the Australia experts and they've got everything you need to make the most of the land down under. So yeah, let's jump straight in. Now, first things first, let's talk about accommodation. Now, when it comes to places to stay in Australia, you've got the full range of things: hotels, Airbnbs, couch surfing, the whole lot. But the most popular option in terms of accommodation for traveling Australia has to be hostels. And the country's got some incredible hostels to choose from, whether you're looking at places like Wake Up in Sydney, Aquarius in Byron Bay, Surf House in Byron Bay, Gilligan's in Cairns, Base Magnetic Island, Bungalow Bay, Whitechapel. There's a huge range of options to choose from. If you are looking for some recommendations on my top hostels in Australia, make sure you check out the links in the description below. Now in terms of prices for hostels, a shared dorm will set you back anywhere between $30 and $35 a night, and a private room in a hostel is anywhere between about $100 and $150 a night. And now this does vary across the board. It can be a little bit cheaper, it can be a little bit more expensive. But generally speaking, about $30 a night for a hostel dorm and about $100 a night for a private double. Also with accommodation, bear in mind you need to keep in mind events and things that are going to bump up the price of your accommodation. So if you're in Sydney over Christmas and New Year, Byron Bay over kind of Blues Fest or Splendour, or over the Easter holidays, your accommodation is going to go up and you will need to pre-book that to make sure you have a bed. But yeah, in terms of accommodation, that's a rundown of the prices. Now your next biggest daily cost is gonna be food and drink. So this is something you definitely need to do a bit of research in and is gonna have a huge impact in the overall cost to travel Australia. In terms of food, you can do everything from 50-cent noodles right through to gourmet dinners. So it really depends how much you want to spend and what kind of level of food you want to be eating as well. So like I said, you can do kind of 50-cent noodles to keep something cheap. You can put together a veggie pasta dish for about $3.50. There's plenty of places offering kind of backpacker meal deals, so that's kind of between $5 and $10 a meal. Or of course you can eat in a nice fancy restaurant, in which case the sky's the limit. When it comes to drinking, if you're drinking in a bar, expect to spend anything between $5 and $10 for a beer, about the same for a wine. And if you do splash out on cocktails, you'd be looking around that kind of $15 to $20 mark minimum. If you do get drinks from a bottle shop, expect to pay about $5 for a beer, about 15 to 20 bucks for a 6-pack. And then things like spirits are a little bit more expensive, with a bottle of vodka costing anything between kind of $30 or right through to 60, 65 bucks and beyond. So yeah, food and drink is going to have a big impact in your budget, so make sure you stick to your limits. Now, of course, Australia is a big place, and your other big cost is going to be transport for your time in Australia. Now, Greyhound is still the most popular way to travel around Australia, but they have made some changes to their bus passes from my last video. So the new types of passes they offer are the Greyhound Limit Pass, which are only limited by the time frame you buy. So you can buy anything from 15 days right through to 90 days. Or the Greyhound East Coast Limit Pass, which gives you unlimited travel, but anywhere on that Melbourne to Cairns East Coast route. Now the 30-day East Coast limit currently comes in at $369, and that gives you 30 days of travel. So if you're spending a month in Australia, that's a great way to tackle the East Coast, anywhere from Melbourne up to Cairns, or Sydney up to Cairns, or vice versa. You are only limited by time on that, so you can backtrack if you really want to. So yeah, that's going to be your best option. The other thing to keep in mind in that is if you want to fly back to kind of say Sydney or Melbourne from Cairns at the end, you can get an internal flight for about 150 Aussie dollars. Check out the likes of Jetstar and Virgin Australia for any of your internal flights. The other thing to keep in mind is a lot of people love to do campervans. Now campervans vary a lot in pricing depending on the size of campervan, the length of your hire, where you're picking up and dropping off, and of course the season as well. But you can generally do campervans from about $35 to $50 a day. Again, it really varies. Make sure you also keep in mind the fuel costs. So kind of average that out. You can kind of look into the fuel consumption of the campervans before you go, and you can kind of make a rough budget for that as well. But yeah, for the most part, the Greyhound East Coast limits are going to be the way to go. Now, of course, your other big thing to budget in how much it will cost to travel Australia is going to be the things to do. So that's your day trips and your overnight tours. Now, everywhere along the East Coast, there's so much to see and do, so this can really add up quite quickly. So do your research, have an idea of what you want to do, and of course, budget accordingly. So I'm just going to run through some of the top tours to do along East Coast Australia, prices, so you can have an idea of what to spend. So let's start in Melbourne and run away all the way up to Cairns, some of my top tours along the east coast of Australia. So you've got a Great Ocean Road day trip from Melbourne, that's about $150. You've got a Blue Mountains day trip from Sydney, that's about $150 as well. Then you're up in Byron Bay, surf lessons, $69. Dolphin kayaking, $69. Then we're up in Fraser Island, so you can do a 3-day, 2-night overnight camping adventure, and that's about $499, but it's definitely worth the splurge. It's one of my top things to do on the East Coast. And then you've also got Whitsunday Islands as well, the other big tour to budget for, and they're about $399 through to $499. Check out the likes of New Horizon and Tongariro for the overnight trips there. If you do want to do a day trip to both Fraser Island and Whitsundays, they're about $185 each if you do want to keep things a little bit cheaper. Noosa Everglades canoe tour, about $150. And then we're up into the likes of Magnetic Island. So you can do a Magnetic Island package deal for about $118. That includes your return ferry and 2 nights accommodation. Up in Cairns, you've got the Great Barrier Reef. That's $210 for a snorkel tour, or $240 for an intro scuba dive on that trip as well. If you do want to do your full PADI open water course in Australia, it's a great thing to tick off the bucket list, and that's about $799. Cairns and Byron Bay are my 2 top picks for your full PADI open water. And then you've also got Cape Tribulation, a really nice day trip from Cairns, and that's about $150 as well. For your adrenaline junkies out there as well, you've got bungee jumping up in Cairns, that's about $185. Or you've also got skydiving, another great bucket list item, that's about $319. Mission Beach would be my jump zone of preference because you get to land on the beach as well. So now to the bottom line, how much does it cost to travel Australia? Well, a 30-day East Coast adventure between Melbourne and Cairns will set you back around about 3,577 Aussie dollars, or about 119 bucks a day. So this includes 30 nights accommodation, 3 meals a day, your Greyhound East Coast Wimmet Pass, a 30-day option, and of course all my top trips and tours as well. Obviously, this 3,577 bucks is a good starting point. You can blow that budget out of the water with double rooms, expensive accommodation, meals out, and lots of partying. Or you can also make it cheaper with cheaper hostels, day trips, and things like that. But the 3,577 bucks is a really good starting point. If you do want more of a detailed breakdown of accommodation costs, more tour costs, and things like that, make sure you check out the links in the description below for my full budget breakdown. And of course, if you are staying in Australia for longer, those costs do even out and bring your daily average down quite a lot. So if you're out on a working holiday visa, you're obviously going to spread those big tour costs across a year, which obviously brings your daily cost down. If you are heading out on a working holiday visa, make sure you check out the link in the description below to an awesome working holiday visa starter package in either Sydney or Melbourne, which will really kickstart your adventure. But yeah, 3,577 Aussie dollars, that's how much it costs for a month in Australia. And of course, as I've mentioned before, if you are planning your trip to Australia, make sure you check out the crew from youraustrip.com. They've got everything you need to sort out your dream trip down under. So whether it's hostels, bus passes, tours or more, they've got you absolutely covered. I've also put in the link in the description below to their East Coast custom planner. So in a few simple clicks, they can put together your dream itinerary. And there you have it, guys. That's my full updated guide to how much it costs to travel Australia. If you want more information on traveling around Australia, make sure you check out the links in the description below to all my blog guides, and check out the rest of my YouTube channel as well. If you do have any other questions about traveling to Australia, make sure you add them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. That's it for this week, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.